Ooh, look at that carpet. That's pretty. Oh my goodness. I bet that's shag carpet too. Kitchen is super, super dated. Big space though. Whoa! 637 days on the market. What are these people smoking? Good morning and welcome back to another episode of the weekly deal analysis here in the Corner Barn. I am Chris Thompson, that bearded guy, the creative guy. Each and every week, I pick a random house off the internet, analyze it for a cash deal and a creative deal. Let's get into it. This week's episode, we are going to analyze 3001 Fort Ave in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, 35661. Let's see what we got to work with on this property. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,000 square feet. All right, let's look at the pictures first, where I confuse myself. The driveway is jacked up. All brick and kind of stone. Looks good. Got a little carport over here on the side, or it looks like on the back. That's where, okay, that's what was thrown. It's on the back. And you got a 2-car garage, detached, good space. Some stained glass, kind of cool, but dated. Wood floor is looking pretty good shape. There's a little stuff there. Ooh, look at that carpet. That's pretty. Oh my goodness. I bet that's shag carpet too. Kitchen is super, super dated. Big space though. Got some busted off tiles. So extremely dated, but I bet there's hardwood underneath all of these floorings. You got grout lines missing everywhere. This thing is going to be a fairly large undertaking because it's so dated. Cedar closet, storage shed. Let's see what else we got. Whoa! 637 days on the market. What are these people smoking? Let's see if they're telling us anything good in the description here. New roof, new central air 2 years ago. Home sold as is, not willing to make repairs. All right, well, that just shows me that they're really not motivated because they've been on the market now for close to 2 years. Wow. Let's see what else we got. Estimated rents, 1718. That's a good number. Not a ton of history on this thing. They started at 250. Now they're down to 220. Wow. Property taxes, very reasonable, especially if, I mean, that's about half of 1 month's rent. That's a really good number. We got anybody doing anything else here? Sold for 70. When did this 23 for 70,000? Look at this fancy thing. Now this is a pretty house. Reno, like this. This is basically telling me our ARV is going to be 200,000. 21 for rent. Wow. They paid for this thing. 22 sold in 20 for $40,000. Wow, good for them. Very, very good for them. All right, so that just tells me that our ARV is going to be 200,000. And this thing needs a ton of work. Mostly just updating. I think overall the structure is pretty solid. So I'm going to pull up my calculator here. If I can share that with you. Share my calculator with you. So if our ARV is going to be 200,000, we're going to offer 70%. So that gives me 140,000. The amount of work that needs to go into this thing, I think on the low side is going to be at least 50,000. So we're going to subtract 50,000 off of that. Really? We're looking to offer them $90,000 for this thing. What do you think? Just taking a couple notes here. All right, so our offer price is going to be $90,000. Let me flip the screen back here. So we're only going to offer $90,000. I think it's a long shot, but we'll see. So now we're going to jump over to the Invest Nest. I love the Invest Nest. It is one of the best sites that I have ever used to analyze a cash deal. The thing I like the most about it is it's got a built-in CRM that you can, everything you pull up drops in this file. If I save it, it's here. If I skip trace it, which this site does offer skip tracing included in the price. I don't know that there's anybody else out there that does that. And it's pretty darn accurate. I just don't do a ton of wholesaling, so that's why my skip trace is pretty empty. But if this deal goes to analyze, I just drag it and drop it. And if I make an offer on it, I drag it and drop it over there. But I didn't. One phone call with that lady, and she didn't want to talk to me anymore. Either way, my link will be below. You get 1 week for free and 50% off your first month if you like the service. Try it out. I think it'll work well for you. Back over here, plug in my address. Not giving us an estimated rent. Estimated ARV is 207, so I think we're pretty close with that 200. Owner details. Here's that skip trace thing I was telling you about. It works really well. Don't have any financing on it, so there's no financing on this, which is good. All right, let's calculate our returns. Fort Ave. Our purchase price we said was going to be $90,000. Our closing costs are going to be 2 points. Our lender costs are going to be 2 points. And I think our renovation costs are going to be 50,000, and we're going to try to wrap them into our loan because I don't want to come out of pocket for that stuff. See if we can't get away with 20% down on a 30-year amortization, and rates, they're not fun right now, about 8%. Our rent numbers, according to Zillow, was like 17 something, right? Yep, 17, 18. Now I want to jump over and check the HUD website just to see what they're offering. This is our one from last week. Where's my county at? So Zillow does give you the county, but they bury it all the way down here. So this is Colbert County. Here. Colbert County, Alabama. Select new county. Boom. So we're looking at a 3-bedroom. Is that right? Yep, 3-bedroom. So for a 3-bedroom, HUD or the government or our tax dollars are going to pay up to about $1,200. I like that street number a whole lot better. Like, let's split the middle on this and call it 1,500. So I think our rent's going to be 1,500. Property taxes, insurance. This is kind of a bigger home, so I think it's going to be about 125 a month, which makes that 15 for the year. Management fee, 10%. Tenants paying all the utilities. War chest. Got to keep a war chest. Maintenance, vacancy, CapEx. They're going to happen. It's not really a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're going to need that war chest. So you have a separate account set up for it. You're not pulling from your operating account, and it just makes your business run a whole heck of a lot smoother. I run 4 accounts. If you're interested to learn what those 4 accounts are, drop a comment below and I'm happy to answer it and or do a video on it for you. And we are real estate investors, so when we go to sell, we don't pay full commission. All right, who's ready to see what those numbers look like? $100, $107. For a $34,000 investment, we can make about $110 a month. Not a great cash deal. But keep in mind that we are rolling all of these expenses into our loan. Once that's done, we can refinance again at a much higher value. Hopefully rates will be lower by the time the renovation's done, and we can kind of rebalance this thing. But for purposes of today's analysis, this is not a good deal. Only not even a 4% cash on cash. ROI is about 12, just under 12. And breaking everything down here. Not a great deal. But there again, that's also based on that 1,500. We had $200 more on that, and it could get a little bit better, but overall, I don't think it's a great deal. Ready for the fun part? Let's analyze the creative deal. This is my creative calculator. I got to delete out everything from last week, kind of, because we already said that our ARV was going to be 200. Right? I said that. And this is even at a $90,000 purchase price. Goodness. So we did say our ARV was going to be 200,000. 70% of that was that 140. For this, I think we can offer them. You know what? Let's offer them the same price. What the heck? This number is going to change a little bit, I think, because this number is pretty much the same. Should be able to just plug and play a lot of the same numbers. All right. No, because the renovation numbers are a whole lot higher here. There's 50,000 for that. Before I get ahead of myself, let's jump over to Bankrate and figure out what our PITI, or principal, interest, taxes, and insurance are. And I keep saying ARV. I forgot to break that down. After repair value. Property tax is only 71 over here. I actually want to offer them a 0% interest rate. Let's see if we can get away with something on that. So at 0% interest, now we're looking at $682 a month. This is going to be 0% interest. Was 682. 682. We're going to offer the seller 5,000. Yes. Offer the seller 5,000. Offer the agent 1,000. Closing cost, we're paying both sides at 4%, 7,200. But this is a fairly healthy cash deal. But if the owner doesn't want a long-term finance, then let me give you a reasonable price, 180,000. And I'm going to go in and renovate everything. And you know what? I will give you a 5-year balloon, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. But I'm going to cash flow $443 a month. So once I get those renovations done, I'm going to cash flow a large chunk. Yes, that's a lot of money out of pocket at 65,000, but you can get a private lender because you got plenty of room in here to make those payments. And then after a few years, you can refinance. Just say investor rates get down below 5 or 6%. Pretty solid numbers. Refinance, now you have a brand new property. It's the Burr method. I hate the Burr method, but it does work. It takes too long, but again, it works. I've used it myself many, many times. So if you run this as seller finance for a couple of years to kind of stabilize everything, refinance when rates get better, pull the equity out, pay the seller off. Now you take that equity and go do this same thing again. So you can renovate those, you can make that $50,000 renovation with the profits from another property. I do this all the time. Not on a mass scale, but yes, it does work. I'm actually getting ready to do an analysis on the most recent multifamily property I just bought. The process started literally 2 years ago, how I chained everything together, scaling, stacking, and leveraging. But I digress. That's going to do it for us on this week's episode of the Weekly Deal Analysis here in the Corner Barn. What did you think about 3001 Fort Ave, Muscle Shoals, Alabama, 35661? I would love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Chris Thompson, that bearded guy, the creative guy. We'll catch you next week.